Hey, folks, are ice baths hazardous to your health? Is all these things that you're seeing online, is there a negative? Is there a dark side? That's what we're talking about today. It's super controversial, but it's absolutely needed to be said. Welcome, Craig Ballantyne. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Kary.
Well, listen, the moment you shared the thought of this book, I thought, I love contrarian thinking. I love, it just makes sense. You're speaking to an area that nobody's speaking about. So this book has to be consumed by people. But what kind of was like the genesis of this concept?
Originally it started out as one man's story, but as I started doing the podcast round, I started hearing this story over and over again, which
Mm,
is essentially, successful guy hears about challenges online, and even though he's already successful and has already achieved things, thinks, "Oh my gosh, I'm a loser. I haven't done this challenge. I haven't done 100 push-ups in 100 days. My goodness, where's my self-worth?" And he goes and starts doing it, and his wife looks at him and goes, "Are you insane?" And fortunately for most people, eventually guy goes, yeah, maybe I'm going a little too far with this.
right.
But for one of my friends, it did not click in until he went too far, not only once, but twice, spending hours a day in one of these challenges when he already had a busy business, when he already had 3 kids, when he had a marriage that was already a little bit of friction in it because he wasn't coming up from the home office till about an hour late. And he went through this twice, got the pats on the back from strangers he'd never met, never will meet. And then all of a sudden his wife walked out on him with the kids, and now he gets to see them every other week. And when
Wow.
that happened, because it was a friend who I really looked up to, that really hit me in the heart, man.
Yeah.
And I've been down the discipline path and swung the pendulum way too hard in one direction and lost out on things because of it. And I simply don't want that same thing for anyone else.
Wow. I'm also doing this on Instagram Live. So hi everybody who's on Instagram Live. We'll tag Craig later on this. But that's a really powerful story. So what do they call it? Something hard is a
Yeah,
challenge.
75 hard is one. The 100 push-ups in 100 days one is always the one I kind of kick at because it's just so ridiculous. Like, it reminds me of that scene from Something About Mary. He goes, "What about 6-minute abs?" Nobody works out in 6 minutes. It's 7-minute abs, 7-minute abs, man. And it's like, well, what if you did 101 push-ups in 101 days? Does that make you like exponentially harder than somebody who did 100 push-ups in 100 days? And it's all just this random stuff, right? It's a random list of random things that
Mm.
none of these challenges are ever, did you spend 30 minutes with your wife today? No, they're always, did you spend an hour or 2 hours away from all of your family, away from everybody that mattered, away from your work that you were put here to do, doing these random things that
Wow.
some random individual came up with that they like to do. And they said, well, everybody else has to do it too.
Yeah, what's that thing? Maybe it's on a special day, maybe it's Memorial Day, but isn't it like the
Oh,
Murph?
The Murph is a big one. Yeah. A lot
Yeah.
of people are really attached to that one.
But
And
you
it's
got
a tough
Spartan
one.
races, you got all these things, right?
Yeah, and my wife was just upstairs watching a High Rocks video because High Rocks is this new thing, and I don't know if you've ever seen anything
I've
about
never
this.
heard of High Rocks.
Oh, it's super popular. It started off in Europe, and it's really great marketing and a great story because the Spartan races and all those things. I've done a Tough Mudder. I've done a couple Tough Mudders,
Sure.
and they're just too hard for most people. But the High Rocks was created to be 8 normal events with a 1 kilometer run in between each that anybody could do. And and it's just another thing, and it's there's community aspect of it. And so these challenges have benefits:
Mm,
community, deadline. You have to organize your life so you get stuff done, sure, but you don't need those things in order to be successful in other areas of life. And I think that's where people get hung up.
mm,
They see somebody doing something and they think, oh, that's the key to their success, but it's not. They were successful before they did these things. And
gotcha.
we really need to break down what really matters.
All right, so this is edgy, man, because pre-show we just talked about me going to France, 3rd summer in a row. You don't just show up in France to the biggest mountains in the world. You got to do training. So let's talk about this because there is balance in life. And, for me, let's talk about cycling. And, as a guy who formerly struggled with depression in my teens and 20s, cycling is a great mental health benefit, But yeah, you're talking about high achievers. I know you work with some really powerful high people, and there can be that obsession. So where is the line, Craig?
And that's the great question. And it's this fine line. Like, I used to be a binge drinker. I used to be a procrastinator. And so discipline was this thing that brought me up to the level. But then there's that fine line where you can take it too far.
Ooh,
And, we'll come back to the cycling in a second. But, you're from the Northeast. I'm originally from Toronto area. So we have brutal winters. And
yeah,
every brutal winter, because I lived in Toronto, I would see these people out. There'd be 2 ice storms every year, and you'd see these runners out, and they were slipping in size like Bambi, right? And sure enough, I'm sure some of them got hurt. And anybody who had common sense would look and go, just take a day off, bro. Like, you
yeah.
don't need. But here's the thing: in the running world, there's this kind of subgroup and sub niche where they're called streakers, and it's like, I've ran every day for 19,000 days in a row. And I
Wow.
just I just saw an Instagram reel today, day 99 of running 13.1 miles. So every day for the last 99 days, some guy I saw on Instagram has been running a half marathon. But it's the same in the running world. I've ran every single day. Nothing has gotten in and I went out and I ran on slippery, icy streets. Well, yeah, okay, great. But for what point?
Yeah.
Like, it's not a training effect. It's simply you not wanting to lose this streak. And
Mm,
humans have lots of funny little mental problems like procrastination, et cetera. And sometimes we just get locked on to something.
yeah.
Outside eyes, you would look at that person and go, you need to not run today because you risk not running for a year if you fall and you mess up your ACL or you break a leg
Interesting.
or something.
Interesting.
Right. And so we all take things too far. And I've taken things too far. I had a 1,000 plus day exercise streak. And I tell the story in the book that I once worked out in the SAS lounge. That's a Scandinavian airport or Scandinavian airline lounge in Copenhagen airport, in the bathroom stall of their airport lounge, because I didn't want to miss my workout day. So I did a bodyweight workout. And that sounds insane to anybody listening. Like, you're so
But
disgusting.
you
Why
know
would
what?
you?
But you know what? It sounds insane, but I could be that guy.
Right.
I could be this is why I like your book, because listen, I mean, I relate. Okay, keep going. Tell the story.
And so I did push-ups on a dirty bathroom floor because I didn't want to miss an exercise streak.
Yeah.
And so it's the double-edged sword here. You do need to harness that energy, that ambition, that power, but you need to harness it in a direction in which it is serving you. That did
Ooh,
not serve me. And working out every single day, running 19,000 days in a row. Like, now I live in Vancouver, and every day I go out for a walk and I see people shuffling down the street who have been running 19,000 days in a row. They
wow.
have poor posture. Their knees are beat
Interesting.
up. So
Yeah.
eventually you take it too far. So you must have the wisdom, and generally you need the outside eyes from somebody who's giving you feedback and
Mm,
correcting you on this, whether it's a coach, a mentor, a trusted peer group. You're in many, I'm in many.
yeah,
We
yeah.
need people to call us out and go, wait a minute, dude, what you're doing is not serving you. And so the Dark Side of Discipline book is meant to be a filter. It's
Yeah.
meant to be a filter for you to think and look at everything that you do. Is this serving me? Is this moving me in the right direction on the straight
Wow.
line to success towards my big goals and dreams? Or is it a dangerous detour that could lead to divorce? It could lead to significant injury. It could
Mm,
lead to me being put off my goals.
yeah.
And here's one, look, as one book writer to another and one book
Yeah.
reader to another. How many times have you met somebody who says, I really want to write a book? And
Yeah.
you see them 6 months later, and you say to them, how's that book coming? And they say, I haven't started yet. And then you find out they're in the book a week club, like the people who read a book a week,
Ah,
right?
interesting.
And is reading a book a week good? Sure, but it's getting in the way of the great.
Oh, that's
And
good.
most people go through life letting the good get in the way of the great. The good is getting in the way of the great. These
That's
challenges are the good getting in the way of the great. Sometimes, cycling and training
yeah.
and going to France, it's good. I mean, that's actually pretty good because
Oh, yeah.
you have this lifelong memory. But the people who do a lot of
Yeah.
endurance training and stuff like that, sometimes that good gets in the
Yeah.
way of the great. And
Well,
here's
yeah,
where I really see it, Kary,
go ahead.
because I use this example a lot.
Okay.
Is I say, what's your level 10 problem in life? So
Mm,
everybody listening, you have a level 10 problem in your life, both in your personal life and in your professional life. And for many people listening, the example I often use is you probably have a level 10 problem in your marriage. You know, if you've been married 5, 10, 15 years, especially the 10 to 15 years, and your kids are 10, 12 years old, you and your wife or you and your husband have become professional Uber drivers for your kids. And you see your spouse, your partner 5 minutes a day, you're like two ships passing in the night. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, we're going to Burger King before the game. Hey, how you doing? We're going to Dairy Queen after the recital. Maybe we'll see each other tonight. And then you see each other and you plop into bed and you fall asleep.
wow.
And that goes on, and a marriage goes from hot to warm to lukewarm to cool to cold. And
Mm,
that's the level 10 problem in your life. But what do people do? They take up triathlon training. They take up
yeah.
YouTube channels. We take up all these things that give us these instant positive
Wow.
dopamine hits.
That's
Like,
good.
hey, I just bought a new bike. I feel good. I'm entering in a race. But have you sat down and had that level 10 conversation with your spouse?
Mm,
Have you sat down in your business and had that level 10 conversation with your business partner who's, not only not pulling their weight, but might even be stealing from you, that might even be sabotaging the business?
so people are
Or,
avoiding.
yeah, the level 10 problem in life is almost always a difficult conversation that people are avoiding, because those are the hardest things in life.
So there's a certain type of person out there, and yeah, they're rare, but that's exactly who your book is for. The super successful, the ambitious, the maybe a little OCD,
Yeah.
obsessive person. And you're saying that it's easier for them to do an ultra marathon, a Tough Mudder, a cycling trip. It's easier
75
for them.
hard, 100
Yeah,
push-up. Yeah, it is.
easier for them to do that than it is to sit down and fix the big thing that's really going to move the needle.
Here's my best analogy of this. You ever been to Nashville or Vegas and you see the guys painted as Elvis Presley in all gold standing
Mm.
there and not
Oh, yeah.
moving for?
Right.
Look how hard that person is working to not work, right?
Interesting.
They're working like that.
Oh, that's good, man.
To
That's
me, that
good.
seems insane, right? That you would
Yeah.
put probably poisonous paint on you to go then and stand and not move and not talk to get money. That's your work. Like,
Whoa.
you're doing that instead of getting like a regular job that would probably pay you more. Like, that's how hard you're working to not work. And it's the same
Whoa.
with, look how hard, and because that's the phrase on social media these days. I do hard things. I
Yeah.
cold plunge. I work out twice a day. I do hard things. Look how hard you're working to avoid the hard work in life, which is having that conversation with your spouse because your marriage is going bad. And so,
Wow.
back to the whole thing that made me write that book was seeing my friend's marriage explode.
Yeah.
And look how hard he was working to show other people he was disciplined, but he wouldn't leave his office on time to go upstairs and talk to his wife and
Yeah.
spend time with the kids. And I don't know why some of us are wired that way. It could
That
be
but
ADHD.
yeah.
ADHD is common in entrepreneurs. That's an ADHD for sure behavior. And again, it's the wiring of the people. And humans are, David Letterman used to have this stupid human tricks thing. And
Right.
it's, and this is stupid human trick 101. For some
Mm.
reason, we are wired to make poor decisions when it comes to what really matters. And so, again, this is a filter for everybody to go, wait a minute. What's my
Mm.
level 10 problem in life, in my personal life, whether it's my health, it's like the overweight executive who is, has 30 million bucks in investable assets, and he's still working 14 hours a day and not exercising and gaining 20 pounds per year. Is that
Well,
rational? Not at all.
interesting. So work discipline for 14 hours a day instead of doing some balanced exercise could also be the dark side of discipline.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need more money, and you're going to die 15 to 20 years early, and yet you still are chasing nothing but money.
Mm.
We see that all the time. And I know this is a little bit late in the trend, but think about the CEO at the Coldplay concert. You saw that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like just dumb behavior by smart people
Right.
is what we want to and maybe I shouldn't use that phrase, but that's what sometimes that's what we end up doing. And this is, make sure you check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Oh, that's good. Wow. I'm feeling a lot here. So I know what you're saying. Let's talk about, I can resonate with this. Let's talk about the day of bike riding in my France trip inside the cycling trip. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we basically had this goal. We're going to do X amount of feet per day and X amount of days and blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I went pretty hardcore with the planning. And then it rains one day, Craig. So it rains. And then all the other guys say, we shouldn't ride today. And I'll be honest, I'm like, guys, what do you mean we're not going to ride today? This is our plan, you know? And they're like, look, man, this is crazy. It's raining down a ton. Like, this is unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
And so I basically submitted to them and I said, okay, we won't ride today, the big route. Okay. Instead, we're going to drive way down and do a much smaller route. Craig, we abandoned the big ride. And the whole time we're driving in the car to the small route, I'm seeing rider after rider's face in the pouring rain, and they are hating their lives. Seriously, like, especially not to be gender-ish, but there's a lot of women who were riding with their guy, and the guy's all like smiling, and the woman is like, I hate you.
Right.
So I turn to those guys and I'm like, all right, guys, you were right. I'm so glad we didn't do it. And then we did a much shorter day, which was still cool. But I know what you're saying, man. Like, if I didn't have those truth tellers right there, I would have done something stupid, gone down a mountain in the rain, and maybe screwed up the whole trip.
But here's so those are your eyes looking at it, and here are
Yeah.
my eyes looking at it.
Okay.
All I know is you went to France and you rode some mountains, and that's super cool.
Interesting.
So
Nobody
I'm
else
already
cares.
like, you could have rode some kiddie hills, and I still would have been like, man, that's amazing, because it sounds awesome. And again, this is where
The
we're
personal
so deep
standard.
into something.
Wow. Yeah.
You got to step back. You got to step
Mm.
back and look at things from that perspective. And whether you look at it and say, hey, I'm going to project myself. What's my 85-year-old self going to think? Oh man, I went to France and I rode some bikes. But whether or not I did, the crazy big ride in the rain, that would have been silly. So
interesting. And this is so good. Okay. So let's talk about your business, because this is exactly, like, I think you're resonating with a lot of people, and they're sitting here saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to get the book, but Craig is really the man who needs to help me. What could people do if they say, I love this and I want access to Craig? Like, do you even do that? I'm clicking coaching. What do you got?
Yeah, we do. And so whether it's with me or whether it's my team, we've built systems. We built systems where we start with figuring out what the level 10 problem is in your business in most cases. And then we just figure out, how do we solve this, which then unbreaks a bottleneck in your business and allows you to scale and allows you to take back your time. And that's mainly what we're focused on, is elevating your hourly worth, taking back your time so that you can have the financial freedom and the time freedom to achieve your goals. And so we do that with everybody from people who run $1 million construction companies all the way up to $100 million fintech companies, because, going back to something that's come up a couple of times, is humans are humans, and we all are generally making the same mistake. Even those people that you read about in the papers that run $100 million companies, they all have the same general mistakes that can be solved by the systems that we put in place.
Wow. What's been the result? I mean, I'm looking, this book has 170 plus reviews, which, that's amazing. And these people are commenting, and what has been the result as people have been reading this?
It's them. There's two sides of it. So one, there's people going, oh my gosh, thank you for giving me permission to stop being so hard on myself.
Wow.
Because this is classic social media, right? Social media is engineered to show the extremes, and it's engineered to show only the things that make us feel bad because we're not, doing them or achieving them. And so people are seeing, they're seeing one person do the cold plunge. They're seeing one person doing the working out twice per per day, another person, getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, another person, reading a book a week. And our brain can't compute that those are individual, and they see, and we think that we have to do all of those things. And it's unsustainable. It's impossible to do all of these things, right? But our brain can't figure that out on its own for whatever reason. It can't filter that. And so the book is giving people permission. You're not a bad person. You're not unsuccessful if you don't do all the things. Let's dial it back. And then it's on the flip side, let's get so specific on showing you the path, which is you have a level 10 problem. Nothing else matters but you attacking that level 10 problem in your life, whether it's your health, whether it's your marriage, whether it's your financial status, or whether it's you are just not stepping into your greatness and writing the book that's in your heart or whatever else it is, and giving people clarity. Because right now there's chaos and confusion in your brain because you see all the things and you're like, I should be doing all those things. Where do I even start? And it's really detrimental and it's overwhelming. And now on the flip side, we're showing you, here's what really matters. And your brain goes, oh, this is actually pretty simple. Now it's difficult. I'm not saying it's easy. Simple is not easy, but simple is a clear path. And you are able to focus on something and achieve those goals. And when you have that narrow-minded focus on what matters, all of a sudden life becomes better.
You see people like Gary Vee in one way, not exercise, but in hustle. You see David Goggins in exercise. You see Jocko every day. He's posting like 3 a.m. or 3:50 a.m. on his watch or whatever. So you're right. If you're wired as a, my strength finder, the number one is competition.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And it doesn't mean I'm competing against everyone else. It honestly can mean that you're competing against yourself. So, I mean, I think there's that type of person here who's like, well, last year I did this and this year I'm going to do this. And, so I think this book is actually amazing. Tanisha, if you don't mind tagging my sister, Sarah, because I get it, man. I just know people that I need to buy this book for. And that's what I want to encourage people. Even if you're watching this and you're not struggling, you might be the spouse of somebody. What do you think, Craig? Is this the type of book that like a spouse should maybe get for?
Yeah. It has certainly helped a lot of spouses understand the person on the other side, but also, they've sat down, read it together, and had a bit of insight and go, okay, you're right. I'm a little bit off track here. In the entrepreneurship coaching I've done for many years, oftentimes I would have husband and wife partnerships. Sometimes they work together in the business. Sometimes they had different businesses, but they came together to the events. And at some point in the day, it would almost always happen. I would say something and the man or the woman would say, that's great advice. And then the other spouse would pull me aside at break and saying, I've been telling them this for 5 years. And it is, this is classic, right? You always need to hear it from somebody else, whether it's your parents telling you something and all of a sudden you hear it from somebody else and you go, yeah. And then your parent goes, oh my gosh. It just needs to be said in that way. The biggest breakthrough that people have in the book, from the book, or when I do a lot of Zoom trainings for people around the book. And when we come to that level 10, and when I say, you're putting a level 1 effort into your level 10 problem, which means, again, like let's say your marriage has gone cold. You're putting a level 1 effort into it because, maybe you buy them flowers on Valentine's Day and something on Mother's Day. That's a level 1 effort. But then on the flip side, you're going in triathlons or you're working out twice a day. Well, that's not a problem in your life, but you're putting a level 10 effort into a level 1 problem.
Whoa.
And when people go, oh, wait a minute, I see. That's right. I am avoiding this major thing. And then I walk them through like how to put a level 10 effort into their level 10 problem. And all of a sudden they go, oh, I see how to fix this.
So good.
And I even show this, like I even walk people through how I'm doing this for myself. So as I mentioned to you, we have 3 kids under the age of 3, 2, and 1. And obviously that's a busy household.
Oh,
You don't have a lot of time for your spouse when you're taking care of that and you're running businesses. And my wife is very busy. And so my wife and I's marriage is a 9 out of 10, but we want it to be an 11 out of 10. So I walk through in my trainings, I show people like, okay, so my wife and I realize this is our level 10 problem. Our marriage is very, very important to us, but it's not getting the time it deserves. So right now we're putting about a level 6 effort into it. What can we do? What can we do to put a level 10 effort into our level 10 problem? What would it look like? And so then we just like, there's probably 10 things that we could do that would take us from a 6 out of 10 effort to a 10 out of 10 effort.
Wow.
And everybody can do this right now. Identify your level 10 problem in life, rate yourself as to like what level of effort you're putting into it, and then write down, what would it look like for me to put a level 10 effort into solving my level 10 problem? And then you go out and do it. You 80-20 it, because there's certain things that are going to have the greatest impact, but you do those things to start, and all of a sudden you start to turn around your life.
I love this, folks. You got to check it out. Get the book. Is it on audio too?
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm getting the audiobook right now.
Audiobooks are always challenging for me,
Right.
but they're always so worth it, because it's like running a mental marathon.
Yeah. But to me, it's the first step. Like, meaning, if I love the audio, you know what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm buying the book, and then I'm going to like sit down and make it happen. So get the book in whatever version, and then start.
And it's super short. It's like a 2-hour audiobook.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. And then, again, if you're the type of person who's like, look, I need Craig in my life, or I need one of his coaches, go to CraigBallantyne.com, click coaching, make it happen. Craig,
or hit me up on Instagram too.
Instagram, DM, comment.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. Okay. And it's real Craig Ballantyne.
Yep.
Is your handle. Okay. Listen, man, you've been a joy to work with. Our whole team, we're jumping in here at different places. Melissa.
Well, likewise.
Alicia, oh man, we really thought it was cool working with you, and you've sent us a lot of, great people, because
just getting started.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Craig. This book's going to help a lot of people.
Awesome. Thank you, Kary.